Well, today we're going to look at Mark chapter 7 and 8 that you read Thursday and Friday for our 5x5 reading plan. As I talked yesterday during the video, I said Jesus is now preparing to tell his disciples exactly why he came, that he is going to go to Jerusalem, that he's going to suffer and die. Tomorrow we will begin our reading on Mark chapter 9 as we see Jesus transfigured before Peter, James, and John, but yet his teaching continues on. And we're in Mark chapter 7, and Jesus, last week we saw Jesus rejected by his own people. We saw his disciples questioning who exactly he was as he calms the storm, as he walks on water. And now we see Jesus also feed the 5,000. And again a little later, feeding the 4,000, but the whole time teaching them to be prepared. Because the groups were coming to him to see those miracles performed, but they were also questioning from him. The Pharisees in Mark chapter 7, they're questioning Jesus. They want a sign from Jesus, exactly who he is. And Jesus really rebukes them for making up their own laws, setting aside God's law and having their own law. And then he tells them, what defiles you is from within you. It's from your heart, and your heart does not truly seek out God. But all that evil is coming from within us. And that's exactly why Jesus has to come. To save us. To hear us. Often as we see in Mark, the people hear what Jesus is teaching them. They witness with their own eyes the miracles he performs for them, but they don't get it. They don't understand it. And maybe they're ignoring God's word, or maybe they distracted themselves with other things, and a lot of it could be, hey, this is going to be the guy that's going to take care of our problems here on earth, as Jesus is trying to teach them that he didn't come to be their king on earth. He came to be their king for eternity in his presence, in the glories of heaven. But it's not understood. So Jesus continues to teach them. He continues to heal them. He continues to remind us that he is there to take care of all things for us. And that's how we end Mark chapter 8. The turn is now going to be complete. Jesus has been teaching his disciples. Jesus has been performing these miracles. And now he tells them exactly why. And he spells it out plainly as he talks to the disciples, as he's teaching them, asking them who are people saying that I am, and they think some of the greatest prophets. Maybe he's Moses, he could be Elijah, and Peter confesses that he is the Christ. And now Jesus is going to teach them, yes, he is the Christ who has come to suffer and die to forgive them of their sins. So he explains to them that he is going to die. But on the third day, he's going to be raised again to the newness of life. And he's preparing them for what lies ahead. And now what lies ahead, as I just said, is Jesus had asked them who people say he is, and they said Moses or Elijah, and now Peter, James, and John are going to witness that. They're going to witness Jesus standing there on the Mount of Transfiguration, not as Moses, not as Elijah, but as the Son of God, who'd come to save us from our sin. So next week, we begin with Mark chapter 9. We've got about a week and a half left in Mark, and we'll be going into Acts. But the turn in Mark has now taken place. Jesus is now headed for Jerusalem. He is now preparing his disciples for his death and for his resurrection. I hope you're enjoying this 5x5 reading plan. I hope you're truly growing with the reading of each chapter every day as we see more and learn more and live more in God's Word.